Hi, I'm back from my holiday in London. And London, as usual, was awesome. I saw some of my best friends and I went to the Harry Potter studios, which was awesome. And the weather was glorious, and I did some insane amounts of book shopping as well, because Waterstones and foils everywhere. Well, Waterstones everywhere, foils in Charing Cross Road. Yeah, it got a bit of out of hand in a way, but no regrets, except maybe that I didn't buy more books because my suitcase weighed only 14 kilos, so that's pathetic. But my bank account can definitely feel the effects of my book shopping binge. Pounds are shit expensive, if you don't know. And yeah, this haul is gonna be in two parts, I think, because there's so many books. First part is gonna include the books I bought before going to London, then the kind of classics and random books I bought from London, the graphic novels I bought from London, and then I'm gonna show you what my sister bought from London as well. And the second part of the video is gonna include like all the YA books and like the couple other books I bought as well, and then my awesome parents who went to Miami. They brought me back not only one, not only two, but several of the books from my wish list, and oh my god, they are so awesome. Like, I love my parents so much. And I will show you all the books in the second part. But let's get started with this part first, shall we? Already before going to London I bought like 8 books, so let's start with them. First up, I bought How to Build a Girl by Caitlin Moran. And this, I think, is about a girl who kind of wants to kill herself to build herself anew, I think. I've heard great things about this and it's supposed to be very funny, so I'm looking forward to reading this, and yeah. Then I bought The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. Love this cover, although I kind of wish that I would have got the hardcover when I had the chance. I think Regan from Peruse Project absolutely loved this one, and it's a historical fiction set in the 1600s in Amsterdam, I think. And I think the plotline basically is that there's a miniature house, and I think the replicas in the miniature house kind of eerily remind or reflect on the real life events or something like that. So it sounds really interesting and I've heard good things about it. Next up, I bought The Fill-In Boyfriend by Casey West. And I wasn't actually planning to buy this, but then I started to see this book everywhere, and everyone was saying it's really nice summer contemporary read, and sometimes I'm just in the mood for this, so you know. I think this is basically what the title says. There's a girl and a boy, and then the girl asks the guy to be her fill-in boyfriend, and then they probably fall in love. So then, of course, you've seen this already on my channel. I bought Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. Loved, loved, loved this book. It's so fluffy, so sweet, so feel good. It tells about Simon Spear, who's 16 and he's gay and he hasn't told anyone. And he starts to fall in love with this guy who he's emailing with from his school, but he doesn't know who he is. And it's just, oh, you should read it. This is so good. Then I also bought End of Days by Susan E. I read Angel Fall like 2 weeks ago, and I really enjoyed it. And it tells about a post-apocalyptic world where angels are the bad guys. And the first book definitely had like some sort of horror element, so it was interesting to say the least. And I'm looking forward to continuing with this series. Also, I bought Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, and I think this as well tells about a post-apocalyptic world where I think the storyline concentrates on actors, so that's pretty much all I know about it, but everyone has really loved this book, so I decided to give it a go. Then I bought The Bees by Laline Poole, and the cover is super cool. It's like a bee's nest type of thing, and I think this is actually adult fiction, I'm not sure, but this is this story tells about like this totalitarian hive society based on the beehive. So yeah, I think it just sounded really interesting, so and the book is really pretty, so picked that up. And the final book I bought from Finland before London is this massive beautiful book, and the English name for this book is The Perfume Bible. It basically tells about the history and the 100 most important perfumes and how the perfumes are made, and it's really nice. Like, they have like these gorgeous pictures inside the book and that sort of thing, and I'm really interested to read about these weird history topics, so of course I had to buy this one. So those are all the books I bought before London, and now we get to the London haul. So the first book I have here is Very Good Lies by J.K. Rowling, which is the speech that she gave at Harvard University commencement, and it's not very long at all, but it has like these nice illustrations throughout the speech. So, and J.K. Rowling is one of my favorite authors, so of course I had to support her by buying this. Then I also bought Xenophobe's Guide to the Aussies and Xenophobe's Guide to the Americans, and if you're not familiar with this series, it's by no means xenophobic, but a rather like a funny look at the kind of stereotypic traits every nation has, and I already have these books about Finnish people and British people as well, and I found them hilarious and quite spot on as well usually. So then I went a bit wild with the Penguin Little Black Classics, which have been made for the 80th anniversary of the publisher. These are like short parts of a bigger book, so if I end up enjoying it I might buy the actual book for these, but I don't think it's the whole book in these. But there's 80 of them, 80 of these that you can collect, and I bought 11, so I bought Brothers Grimm, the Robert Bridge Grimm, which is like German folklore type of thing. Then I bought Henry James, The Figure in the Carpet, which I think is some sort of late Victorian mystery riddle. Elizabeth Gaskell's The Old Nurse's Story. A ghostly child roams the Northumberland moors. Well, Northumberland, not Northumberland. Northumberland. It's a it's a Victorian Gothic tale, basically. Fyodor Dostoevsky's The Meek One, searing tale of a man who drives his wife to suicide. Edith Wharton's The Reckoning, which has two devastating portraits of lonely widowhood and unconventional marriage. Then I bought Hans Christian Andersen's The Tinderbox, which is some sort of bittersweet fairy tale. But yeah. Jane Austen's The Beautiful Cassandra. And I think this is Austen's early stories, and it involves stories of drunks, poisoners and prison breaks, and this was written for her family's entertainment when she was a teenager. So also bought Anton Chekhov's Gooseberries, and this one is 3 moving miniature dramas of love, dread and lies. Then also I bought Samuel Taylor Coleridge's Well They Are Gone and Here Must I Remain. I think this is poetry from the Romantic period. And also I bought Emily Bronte's The Night is Darkening Round Me. Again, poetry. And then finally I bought Leo Tolstoy's How Much Land Does a Man Need? And this is a story about a Russian peasant's bargain with the devil. So, and hopefully these 3 are gonna get me more into the Russian classics, because I was a Russian major in university, and I still haven't read any of the major Russian classics because they are huge. Also about these were 80p each, so you know, that's why I went a bit wild. If these ones were sold in Finland, I think they probably would be like €5 at least. So 80p, I couldn't pass it up. Also, I got 2 other books in the penguin drop caps, and these are gorgeous. This is one of my favorite colors, and this is Leaves of Grass and Selected Poems and Prose from Walt Whitman. And again, sprayed edges, absolutely gorgeous. And also I got E. Nesbit's 5 Children and It, which I think is kind of children's horror story. And the back of the book says, of course you all know what flying feels like, because everyone has dreamed about flying. And sprayed edges. And now that I have the orange book, I'm well on my way to having a rainbow on my shelf. And then I got the Drunken Cookbook, which is continuation because I have the Hangover Cookbook. And basically what this book is, it has a test at the beginning of the book where you have to answer questions, and then it determines how drunk you are and your level of skills for cooking, and then you can cook the recipes in the book. So it's really funny. And I also have the one like how hangover you are and what you should eat version of this book, so had to get it. Then I also bought the Literary Listography book, which is not actually a book, but it's this book of lists where you can basically write your stuff, and it's nicely illustrated. I've seen at least Joe from Joe Reads Books have this one as well, and yeah, the lists include short stories and novellas that are great, fantasy and magical realism books I recommend, fictional characters I'd go on a date with, my favourite films adapted from books, books I hope they make into films, books that made me cry, and so on and so forth. And they had several of these, so it's not only books, but they have these for films and travel and like future and, you know, all sorts of things. And these are really much like a lot of fun. So then moving on to the graphic novels I got. Of course I bought more Chew, so I got volume 8, Family Recipes, and I got volume 9, Chicken Tenders. Unfortunately I couldn't find volume 7 anywhere, so now I'm kind of stuck with the series until I find it, but hopefully I can order it to my local bookstore. Then I also bought Deadly Class volume 2, and luckily this was the same sort of cover as the volume 1, because I was a bit worried that the UK version would be different. But now I can continue with this, and if you don't know already, this tells about these kids who go to school to train to be assassins. And it's very violent, but I loved it. Then I got The Fade Out, because I found this interesting. This is kind of a film noir type of graphic novel. And otherwise I have no idea what this is about, but the film noir type of drawing drew me in, and the cover is quite cool as well. And I finally got the first volume in the Sandman series by Neil Gaiman. This is Preludes and Nocturnes, and I've been kind of putting it off because even though I love Neil Gaiman, these are very expensive. Like in Finland, I think the first volume is about 25 euros or something ridiculous. This was £15, so I just got it. And the drawing style is very different than what I'm currently used to in the image graphic novels. It kind of reminds me of those old comic strips in magazines. But this should be very dark and good, so I'm looking forward to reading this. And starting with the Sandman series, because there's many more volumes in the series. Also, I bought Morning Glories by Spencer Esma and Esquio. Anyway, I've heard Ashley from Set the Story recommend this book, recommend this graphic novel, and I decided to give it a go. And it's another image comic, so I have high hopes for it. And there's a prep school and something sinister going on in the school, so looking quickly at this graphic novel, it seems quite violent again, and the drawing style looks like that. So also had to get the second volume in the Sex Criminal series, Two Worlds, One Cup. Read the first volume, really liked it, and this tells about this couple who discovers that when they come during sex they can stop time. They use that to rob a bank and save their local library. So very much adult content, both in well, mostly in sex but also in violence, if I remember, and that's what the drawing style looks like. And I really enjoyed this, so if that sounds something you might like, be sure to check it out. And finally, I bought Rat Queens Volume 2, which I finished this morning. Again, absolutely loved it. I love my Rat Queens. They're so sassy and so kick-ass, and I just can't wait for Volume 3. This finished on such a cliffhanger. I just can't. But very much enjoyed this. Then what my sister bought. She also bought a few of Penguin Little Black Classics. She bought Plato's Socrates Defense, Apollonius of Rhodes, Jason and Medea. Also the Brothers Grimm, we bought a double of this one. And Homer's Circe and the Cyclops. And also she got Stephen King's Carrie. She already read this in one day. I've tried reading Stephen King in the past, and this was many years ago, but I think it was Cujo, and I didn't even get to the horror part, and I had to put it down because it was getting too scary for me. But you probably know what Carrie is about from the films and stuff. There's a girl who has these special powers and then uses them against the school bullies and stuff. So then she also got Revelation by C.J. Sansom, which is part of the Shard Lake series, and I think this is number 3 or 4, I'm not sure. And it's like crime story that's set in 1500. So there's King Henry VIII and his court, and the crime story, I suppose, takes place in the court or something like that. So also she got Fearless by Cornelia Funk, which is the second book in the Mirror World series. Which is the second book in the Mirror World series, and this is middle grade book, and it includes fairies, and that's all I know about it. But it looks quite interesting and the cover is pretty. And next up, a book that I recommended to her. Basically, I haven't read this, but I would want to, so that's why I made her buy it. Well, I paid for all these books, but you know. And that is The Arithmetist by Brandon Sanderson, which is probably one of his shortest books. And I'm not sure if this is high fantasy as well, or if this is more like not as high fantasy. Maybe like for kids, fantasy for kids, I'm not sure. Anyway, it includes a magic school, and that's pretty much all I know about it. But Brandon Sanderson, I'm interested to read it, so. And finally, my sister got another crime novel, and this one is called After the Crash by Michael Bussey. And no idea what this is about, but she likes these types of books, so. Here is the first one. I'll show you the bag I got from Waterstones, and I just really like these bags that they have. I think they have like more quotes on these as well, so I took it. And finally, I'll show you the pins I bought from one of the Waterstones. There's I like big books and I cannot lie. Eat, sleep and read. Those are my London, well, part of the London haul. And I will film the second part of the video next. So, thanks for watching. Bye!